to come home from Iraq, and I believe it's time for this Congress to support this legislation. As the American soldiers begin their 5th year in this war of choice in Iraq, we confront the tragic fact that the Bush administration's preparation, planning, and execution of this war has not kept faith with the enormous sacrifices our men and women in uniform and their families have made. More than 3,200 American soldiers have died in Iraq, and close to 25,000 more have been seriously wounded. And Iraq is mired in a civil war with tens of thousands of civilians killed or even more internally displaced. Hundreds of billions of taxpayers' dollars have been squandered in this war that has left our military readiness in jeopardy. The all-volunteer army is at a breaking point, and the world's faith in America's leadership is gravely shaken. The American people recognize President Bush's approach in Iraq for what it is, a failure. That's why we sent a message to Washington this past November to change the course, to end this war, to get out of Iraq. That's what the American people said in November. Instead, this president, in all of his arrogance and all of his lying, chose to choose a surge. Well, the time is now for the Congress to do something about that. Because the American people do not support a war in Iraq and has no end in sight and continues the tragic and necessary loss of life, and given the President's unwillingness to change course, it is incumbent upon the Congress to act. With this bill, the Democrats in Congress are taking a stand against the President on behalf of the soldiers in this country and the American people. The bill before the House would protect our troops on the battlefield and at home and require accountability from the Bush administration and the Iraqi government, and set a responsible timeline for the phased redeployment of U.S. troops with a date certain by September 2008 at the latest. We must support this legislation, and again, I thank the authors of this legislation.